Welcome to the Nomad Studio livestream. I'll be working on painting the sculpt. Oh my god, I'm insanely tired. But so it's fun to do some art. What was I doing? Wait, before that, let me just work on this a little bit. Why are you not? For those new to my channel, I normally live stream my work in progress. So all these are my personal projects. And I'm doing them for fun because I like making art like this. And hopefully if it looks unique to you and looks different from what you normally see online, that you can learn a little bit or something from the stream. So I'm trying to, I have these like ribbon tubes thing over here, and I'm trying to integrate it better with the other stuff. And that's why I was thinking that I want to just duplicate one of the objects over here and just make sure that it doesn't look too similar to the other piece. One of the ways to make it look less similar would be to paint it a little bit differently too. So I'm not really worried about making them look too different. But the main thing is that I want the movement of the pieces to make sense at different angles. And at the same time look good at different angles. Which I feel like it's kind of like the main challenge when it comes to working in 3D, like trying to make the lines. Let me this one's a bit difficult. It looks better because you're working with 360 degrees, so you have to do this. Okay. And I always like to impart like a learning point in the stream. So for this one, let me show you like how I look at my forms when I'm trying to judge like what kind of shapes I'm doing. So in this case, what I'm looking at is shapes like this. So I'm looking at these shapes here. So this is what I see, or like what I'm looking at, what I'm focused in, and then the back layer, just like that. So I'm looking at these kinds of shapes, I guess. Like this is what I'm seeing when I'm adjusting the different parts. And then I'm just rotating around and seeing like something like this, where it's straight, and that's not really that good. So I want to try to either make it like this or make it like that. So it can go both ways. Like it's not set in stone. Then sometimes I'll move it to the right, and it's like it's not really that nice, I think, in terms of the whole look, like including this piece right here. But then it might be not bad. I just need to know. Maybe I'll just shift it a little bit more to the left like that. And maybe that is good enough. And just looking at the different angles. There's also this dinner piece, which initially I was thinking of discarding, but when I look at this again, I kind of feel like maybe I do want to keep it. So that's what I will do. I know that it's supposed to be, oh my god. I know that this is supposed to be for a painting stream, but then I forgot that I have all these things to do. So something else that I can do too would be to duplicate this, just to do it fast so that I can start painting. Would be to clone this, and I'm going to change this. Oh wait, no. I'm going to change the radius of this tube. And then using the, do I want to use the magnetic snapping, I will just bring this up. So just for context, I'm trying to, this is like not art related, but I'm trying to exercise every day, and this, I'm kind of like not that fit, and that's why I'm quite tired. But I do want to make my work in progress live streaming like more consistent, so like just the same with running and all that. Even though I have a lot of injuries, I realized that just showing up on the running track every alternate day, or showing up at the bouldering gym like every other alternate day, like how important that is. And it feels very foreign to me as someone who grew up being pretty sedentary because of like lifestyle, like family lifestyle and all that. And yeah, and I just want to kind of give myself some breathing space and be like, you know, exercising and trying to get fit and all that is very difficult. So yeah, but the main thing is also I do want to get into the habit of showing up for my live streams too. Showing up online. It's looking so pretty. Yes. Also, if you have a kind of like a New Year's goal of becoming more fit, all the best to you too. Like, it's a tough journey, but it is a very fun one. It's really fun to be able to be active, and I feel like it, like, even though I feel really tired right now, it feels like there's a different type of energy that I have now, which is really nice. Okay, so this one, maybe I want to make it so the same thing with this, where I'm looking at the different shapes of like that. I'm looking at the endpoints now, and I feel like they're too much on the same plane, and that's why I am deciding to push this up a bit like that. And then and also checking the different angles, also checking the negative shapes like this, whether or not sometimes negative shapes I'm kind of like guilty of making things too. Hello Manjusha. Drawing all day. So it's nice to hang out with other people doing art. I don't have those kind of people in my life. It's so lonely being an artist. Well, my boyfriend is an artist too, which is very nice. But I wish that like my outer circle also do art, you know. Yeah, anyway, in regards to thank you. What is it? Oh crap. Like, let's say the negative shapes of this is like this. Actually, I'm not really sure. Like, I just felt like drawing crap. But let's say if the negative shape looks like this, I would prefer if the negative shapes look like this, I would prefer the negative shape to look more like this, where there's like more organic form. Hello Erdimart, and hello Kai47. Are you sculpting as this is a real-time lighting in Nomad Sculpt, so I'm using Nomad Sculpt on the iPad Pro. But Nomad Sculpt is available for both iPad OS and for Android, and I believe that it's available for PC now. And they have real-time lighting for like since forever. I'll show you the setup later, but when it comes to the negative shape, before I delete this, I prefer like less symmetrical shapes and something with a more organic flow like that. So right now this shape is a little bit too like symmetrical, so I'm gonna push this up a bit, I'm gonna push this down a bit, and now the negative shape looks a bit better in my opinion. And that's how everything is. That's how I make the decisions for everything else, including this angle here. Like, it's, let me shorten this a bit. There's a negative shape here. Just a negative shape, and I don't want this to be like this, like right smack in the middle. So even things like that, you would have to consider like what you want the shape to be. So for the real-time lighting, there's this this is the macropad mode. I'm just gonna assume that you know like what everything is. So what's the button here? So this is the macropad without any paint, and this is macropad with painting, like this. And then this is the real-time lighting. The background is just like a color gradient thing, and I am adding lights. There are a few light sources. So a point light, another point light here, I guess another point light there, and this spotlight coming down from here, and a little bit of an environment light in this one. And for Nomad Sculpt, you can use any image for work for. Like you can use free run crying as like a image for the background lighting. I think so far I've been liking the default studio lights for quite a lot of my sculpts, because the way that the highlights look, I feel, yeah, there's just something about this that I like. And then I have some post-process settings. I'm not sure. Yeah, to boost up the saturation a little bit. And I really like the curvature for this, which is kind of like adding outlines to any bumps. So the bumps here, any bumps and I guess dense meshes. I think this one is a lot easier to see the difference between without curvature and with curvature. It gives an outline effect, and you can control the amount that you want to set for areas with like areas where it's like flat and then bumpy, then it will put some of this lighter color, which you can choose which color you want. And areas where it has a cavity, kind of like the places where you see ambient occlusion appear, like even these like creases over here where it's like flat and then it pinches out and then come in, like this is the side view, then this cavity will be like, I guess, like painted this, and any outline of different meshes will also be considered cavity. Like this piece, you can see like this is the mesh for this piece, this is the mesh for this piece, and this is another layer, and you can see inside over here this is considered a cavity, and I can adjust the thickness too. So let me just finish up. Maybe I don't even need to. So maybe I'll just like duplicate this one. Just one more before I start painting. And then adjust the profile again. And make it smaller. I don't know I don't know what the I guess like proper definition of real-time lighting is. But wait, why is this? Oh, is it flipped the other way? Oh, I see. I find like this is one of the coolest thing with Nomad Sculpt, like being able to work with real-time lighting, and like the results are the way that things look. I think when it comes to transparent objects, it's still a little bit, I feel like it wouldn't be that great. like it doesn't look the best. But I think everything else, like just knowing that everything is being made on the iPad, like it's just insane. And I hope that people don't forget like how insane it is to be able to do all these things on an iPad, like on a device. Like as much as I sound like those kind of people who are like, oh my god, like back in my days, like we didn't have all these things. Like it's just so amazing. Like remembering where everyone started from. I think this one you can see that's the straight line that I don't like. I'm going to move it. No. Sometimes moving things around will like change the look of the objects at different angles too. Oh, let me use the B-spline. Okay, that's better. And even like something like this, you can see that the 3 strings here are like going directly up, and I don't like that. So let's make it a little bit different. Something like this, and that's better. Can also rotate the strings a little bit just to give some nice variations, and I think that looks pretty good. And just looking at the different angles and make sure that it doesn't clip too badly. I also sculpted the foot yesterday on stream, and I made some changes because I realized that the toes are too big. So I just shrink the toes down a bit. Also made the feet a bit smaller, so that's like a good change compared to yesterday. Like there's a difference between doing work on my own, like without talking and anything, like just vibing and sculpting, versus like doing work while like explaining everything in some sense. Because I think because like in some way, like doing streaming and also doing, I guess, commentary, like it's a sort of distraction, or like I need to put more brain power into another thing, like multitasking. So sometimes like it's a little bit hard to see like what is wrong with the sculpt. But it's like after I finished streaming, I was like, I look at it again, like, oh my god, the toes are so big. But cool. Still consider novice. Yeah. I also started out with only doing things in Madcap. Let me see. like when I was making, you can see like this was one of my first project, which like it looks complicated, but it's just I sculpted for months on this project. So it's just like consistent work on this. Yeah, it's just months of work. I didn't finish this in a week. But when I was sculpting this one, I was sculpting on the iPad Pro, the first ever iPad Pro, the one with like the button, the finger ID button, which is very nice. Like I like that button. And I think 1.5 gigs of RAM. So this one has around 16 gigs of RAM, although like it gets less and less as I work on a project. When I spend like a long time with a project file open, the amount of RAM kind of like decreases. So imagine trying to do this with like 1 gig of RAM. I don't think it was possible for me to even like look at. No, actually vertex painting, maybe painting is fine, but you can see like the colors that I chose is like so like it's just all like base colors, because for one thing, like I was really not confident in doing colorful things or like playing around with colors. But the other thing was also that my iPad was getting very warm even just doing this, and then when I switch into the real-time lighting mode, like it's just like so laggy. Like this is because I can do this because I'm using the iPad M4 right now, but on the previous iPad that I had with the 1.5 gigs of RAM or 2 gigs of RAM, I don't remember, like this would just like burn up my iPad. So there is a oh my god, stop, oh my god, this stupid iPad OS thing. You see, it's a little bit, let me go back to Madcap. It's a little bit laggy. Let's go back to, where are you? God, I was a bit scared that I forgot to save. So I would say that being able to do this real-time lighting on a really dense mesh like this, because yeah, on really dense meshes and stuff, like it's the capability of the iPad M4. I mean, after I did that project that I just showed you, I was just like I spent maybe half of my time for that project on decimating my meshes. So I like to work with dynamic topology when I sculpt, and with decimation you can look at the mesh looks like this, and when you decimate it, it reduces the poly count by, right now it's reducing by 50%, and I'm just going to reduce it further and further and further until it is a lot less polygons, which will make the file size a lot lighter. But of course, if I do that too much, then you can see that the details on the side, they kind of disappear. Like you see this, you can see like the edges and all that becomes very polygonal. So like a lot of the time that I spent in the previous one was like trying to decimate as much as possible while retaining details, and then sculpting a little bit, and then decimating again, and then like repeat that cycle. It took so long, and that was when I decided that I would just invest in getting the latest iPad, which was when the iPad M4 came out. Because there was also an element of like I didn't want to invest in in the iPad if I wasn't going to do a lot of sculpting on it. And in some way that project was to kind of like do a test of like, am I really going to do this for real? Like, or am I just like, or will it just be like another hobby that I will pick up one time and then just never do it again? Because if that is the case, then it really doesn't make sense for me to get the latest iPad. But I'm glad that through that process I found out that I really enjoy doing sculpting. And yeah, it's been like a lot nicer that the iPad doesn't get so warm when I'm doing things like this. Sometimes it gets warm. Like if I show all the meshes, right now it's a little bit warm. Like it tends to get warm like around here, even with the previous iPad, like near the bottom side, I think. I found it so funny because like the previous sculpt that I just displayed, I was sculpting a lot of the fire, like the flames around the base, and I was like, it feels like some 4D effect that I'm like sculpting flames, and then like my iPad was burning up because the amount of details was like getting too insane. So I'm going to start painting on this right now because this one is done. So from far, I think this one is a little bit too basic in some sense. So I'm going to add a little bit of something like that. But yeah, so my do I want this to be going inside? My advice would be like, just do what your iPad or your device is capable of doing, of handling. But it is really fun to be able to look at a very detailed sculpt with real-time lighting and with all the vertex colors and stuff. Like painting on vertex, doing vertex painting on like a detailed sculpt with the old iPad was like was so laggy. So this one is done. You can see there's this like really minor thing of look at where the endpoints of the different things are, like that. I want to make it a little bit different. And all these things that I consider, like when I'm not talking about it, it happens pretty fast. Like it doesn't take that long. Like it actually takes a lot longer when I need to sit down and think about like, how do I explain like what I'm doing. So it's just like that. Or maybe I'll just bring this one up a bit. There's a little bit of this feeling of like, oh, the ribbons, they kind of just like end very flat. Like it'll be nicer if they can be more like varied. But then I think it's going to be easy to just render this out and then just like smudge it a bit when I do my final stuff. As you can see at this angle, I want to fix that a bit. And usually this kind of things is just like, I'll just do as much as I can, like what I can spot, because I can't spot everything. Like there are too many angles to fix. But usually at around the stage where I start going in and like painting and all that stuff. Oh, the back skirt is missing. You see, like I can't just make the mistake of like, oh, it's actually pretty hidden. So I forgot that I had this one more piece of skirt at the back. So I guess it's unfortunate that things get covered, but it's not too bad. I just want to make sure that they are not clipping through anything. So let me, actually it's very hard to see. It's getting too much. So it's not too bad, then it's fine. And then I will delete these old shoes which I don't need anymore. Delete this. I'll delete the old leg. Don't need that anymore. Like that. Then make sure that the leg kind of looks nice. Just bring that in a little bit. And now I can paint. Yeah, it's sometimes I feel like I totally get like how you feel. Like, sometimes I feel a bit scared that like, oh my god, like am I damaging my iPad? And usually that's like what I think about when I decide like do I like, I'm just thinking, I haven't been thinking about it in recent time, but like how much I show on the viewport at any given moment, it's pretty dependent on how warm my iPad gets. Like if my iPad doesn't heat up, I would kind of like just leave everything on display. And then when it gets too warm, then I'm like, oh shit, I need to hide it. I need to hide a lot of things. Like I think Nomad Sculpt is quite stable, but I'm also like a little bit afraid of like when it lags too much that the file will crash and all that stuff. So that's also another thing that I think about. So when it comes to painting my sculpts, I have a few brushes which are just the default paint tool, and then let me see. So it's, yeah, I'm going to start painting now because this is done. The final pieces are done, and I usually use the paint tool default, and I have all these different ones which are the default paint tool, just with a little bit of variation. So for this one, the alpha channel is this default alpha channel, one of them. It's this one. And then for these, they are just, where is it? They are just the default paint tool, but with this normal filter. And I think this looks a bit different now. I think. I haven't checked like what this one does. So I'm going to see. Let me just go into macropad mode so they can look at it properly. So I have 5. So I think it used to be like 5, 10, 15. And so like that's why I call this 5, 10, 15, 22. But I guess the numbers are all different now. I think this whole system is a little bit different now. So what this does is, let me just grab this color here. When I choose like I'm going to do a small brush size. When I paint on this surface, it's going to paint on anything that is kind of like within like 22 degrees of what's it called? Any face that is within 22 degrees of difference, and everything else is more than 22 degrees of difference, like this area here, I can't paint on it. Whereas with the default brush tool, with the default paint tool, if I paint like this, it will get onto anywhere that the cursor is touching. So when I was working on this piece, I didn't know that you could do things like that. And so all these were just like hand painted in, and I feel like it looks a bit messy. But the main thing is that I've chosen the colors that I wanted for these. So 15 degrees is like, oops, wrong one. 15 degrees is like this, and then 5 degrees is like even less. I'm feeling that now it looks a bit different because, let me see. I'm trying to figure out what this is. Yeah, so I think, yeah, you're welcome. So I was testing it out a little bit, and I think maybe this is to paint on like the inverted side. So if I do this, it will avoid the areas where I'm painting and paint on everything else. Something like that. And then, so I think I will clone this. Maybe I don't like the way that iPad OS like hides the keyboard when my macropad is connected now. Everything is a pain. And then I'll reset, do this to last save. So if I paint this and then I use this, yeah, okay. I think there's nothing much to talk about this. Maybe it's like it's just painting at this painting high detailed thing. So let's just get to it. I'm not sure if I want to, like, I haven't really thought about how I want to go about doing this, but I feel like I would just go with the flow with this. I feel like it's not really going as what I planned for it to be like. Also, this kind of painting, it's I think it's would be more commonly used for painting. What's that? I think there's an example in the Nomad Sculpt manual where imagine you have a floor where you have cobblestones, and so you have a plane that is kind of like the base layer, and then you have the flat stones that is a little bit higher up. So with, was it that one? Yeah, and like if they, and they have to be like all in one geometry. So because of the different like normals, like different faces and all the stuff, you can use this normal filter to paint only specific parts of like the pavement, something like that. I I don't think it's really used for things like this. I just happened to come across it, and I don't remember why I came across it. But when I did, I was like, oh, like it works for it works more for my specific style of sculpting. Like especially when there's a lot of details, and then I'm just like making use of the different plane changes to create even more details. Like it used to be flat before, and now this is a little bit more detailed because of how like the planes shifts in angles. But I haven't really tested out on this one, so it might not be a good idea. I'm not really sure. Like I feel like I'm just struggling right now because I feel like the concept of it sounds good, but then yeah, I don't know. Concept of it sounds good, but then the execution is like very different from what I am expecting it to do. Like I don't even know whether I can use this actually. Because I also don't want it to look messy. Like it might not work out just because it's introducing too many yeah. There are too many dots, I guess. That's the main problem. Oh, I guess. Yeah, it's very difficult. I think in my mind, the way that this was going to work out. Oh, you know what? Maybe I can use this. I just need to do it the opposite direction. Let me just okay, let me try it again. But this time I will paint the blues in. Let me get the blue. I don't remember if I have a palette for this. I think it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to use I think the I'm not gonna like it's quite complicated to me too. I mean, sound like I know my shit sometimes, but then like I don't know. like if I really know what I know, I wouldn't be struggling so hard to like figure out how to explain it. So I think with this one it works. This like Nomad this normal filter thing, I think it's a lot easier to paint on like larger flatter surface like this. I think the results look a lot better. So I think maybe this is the way. I think it doesn't really matter as much though, because in terms of materials and color, because I'm gonna bring this to Blender eventually. Actually, it looks quite pretty. Yeah, I think it's working out. I think it's working out. Yeah, this whole time is just like I'm going like I'm just doing trial and error, and this is working out for me. I think. See, like this sharpness, the feeling of sharpness is what I'm going for compared to this hand painted thing that was going on previously. So actually I should duplicate this. Just so that I have a reference point later on when I'm done with this. Very cool. The main thing that I want to achieve with this workflow is just to do things faster. Like, I wish that I can just go in and like slowly hand paint everything, but then it's going to take too long. So the base, I think, based on my initial test renders from Blender, the colors don't really show up as much, I think. So I don't need to worry about it being too like nice or anything. And based on like how I choose my angles and what I'm working with, it's really just like how nice it looks. I think for this case, maybe 15 degrees of normal difference like looks a little bit too like messy to me. Actually, I'm not sure. Maybe it might look nice. I'm really just like, does it look nice? Or would the other brushes make it look even better? It's very hard to tell sometimes. And the thing is that this one really depends on having a lot of angle changes in the sculpt. So you wouldn't be able to get these kinds of patterns on the sculpt if your sculpt is just like a round thing or flat thing. And how long have you been doing this? Yeah, I guess it is years of experience, but like I did go to art school. I would say for sculpting is like how many years has it been? Like seriously sculpting would be, my timeline is like a bit warped, but for seriously sculpting it would be less than 5 years. But when it comes to doing like actual 3D modeling, like going to Maya and like moving things around and like scaling like doing the normal like move, rotate, translate, scale, edge loop, extrude, all those kind of things, retopology, doing things for like more cartoon, like stylized animation, like rigging and all that stuff, like making sure that the topology is good. Then that one I have like maybe like more than 5 years of just like self going through the art school process, learning things from like really good teachers, and then learning from the side extra things that I care about. And sculpting is one of the kind of like the branch that I just like tried with my previous knowledge of like all the kind of like the foundation of 3D modeling. But yeah, and I would say like I would say like I spend more years drawing than doing 3D stuff. And I feel like because of the way that I draw and the way that I paint, it kind of like bleeds into the way that I so-called like draw on my sculpts. Because like in some sense, to simplify it, doing something like this, like 3D, is like I can draw something like this on paper, but so it feels quite similar. The only difference is that in the 3D space, I'm not just drawing this angle. When I rotate this angle needs to look good too. So that's kind of like the main difference with the 3D and 2D side. But then there's a lot of what's that word called? I don't know. And hello LT Customs. Do you have tips to control with I'm not sure what Z Modeler does in ZBrush, and getting myself paper like film too. You're constantly getting yourself paper. Oh, right. I was like, what is paper like film? And paper light is pretty good. I would say that, like, let me just like put a marker. Paper light, for like, my timeline's a bit warped, but for a long time I didn't like the look of paper light because my boyfriend got it first, and then when you get paper light over your screen, paper light has like a lot of bumps, and that's why it feels, you can hear that, that's the texture that you're hearing. It feels a little bit like a very, very fine sandpaper. So like it feels nice, but then when you look at the screen right now, you can see like there's like it's not a completely flat gradient. I'm not sure whether I think it's just gonna make it more defocused. Oh, I think they know because I put the description. So I'm not sure about different brands because I'm using the elecom one and I really like it. But you can see in this small square, it's supposed to be a very smooth gradient, but you can see the dots on it. You can see like all these dots, and that's just from the screen protector having a bumpy texture and is, I guess, refracting the light from the LED coming out. So I can see like all these like greenish magenta dots coming out of the screen, and it takes a while for me to get used to, I think. I mean, I really can't remember like the timeline, and my memory is really bad. But yeah, so for the longest time I was doing things on a very clear, like smooth screen protector, and then I was getting a little bit like this feeling of like, oh man, it's actually quite tiring to draw on a smooth surface, because it's very slippery. And then after a few years of like seeing my boyfriend drawing on this elecom Paperlight and having this, and after that he recently got this elecom metal tip like this. I think it was like just last year or 2 years ago. And then I tried it, and then I was like, you know what, maybe I should just try this. So I got and like my rationale was like, I'm just gonna try it. If I don't like it, then like I guess I'll just change back. But I really like this. I think the only what was I trying to see? Oh right. So like out of the, you know, the plastic-ish screen protector, I think people don't really sell that anymore, because that was what I was using for my older iPad. And then I think now like the only screen protectors that you can get, the choices you can get, I think would be this kind of Paperlight screen protector, or else is the glass tempered one, the tempered glass one. And I've bought like the tempered glass one. I don't remember the brand. But the problem with tempered glass is that there is a little bit of thickness to the tempered glass. And I find like when you have, like, let's say this, if I just zoom in, this is the iPad, the side of the iPad, and I'm just going to exaggerate it. Paperlight is like this, and tempered glass is kind of like this thickness. And like just this little bit of thickness, when you draw a straight line, when you draw a line like this, and my hand's a little bit shaky right now, if you draw a line like this, it's going to look like that. Wait, no. When you draw a straight line, instead of it appearing like that, it will appear like this. So that was my experience with the tempered glass, and I don't think you can get a thinner tempered glass. Like, I think all the tempered glass screen protectors that I've seen is like, there is like some thickness to it, because or else like, I guess it doesn't work as well. So don't get like tempered glass, because your lines are just going to be like that. I think because like the sensor, as the sensor goes like further away, it becomes hard for the device to register like where the pen is, and then it starts having this wobbly effect. But yeah, when it comes to the Paperlight screen protector, like I like how rough it is, and I got this smoother type because I think my boyfriend heard that the I think it's like the pink color one, like the rougher one, it is very rough, and it will what's that thing called? It's very rough, and it will wear down the normal nib faster. And like this is already rough enough for me, so it's not really, I'm not really sure whether or not it's an issue that everyone has, but it's just my experience, just because that like just being further away from the screen really does make a difference. Oh, like I think if you look at, there's this artist from Singapore called aoiktye. So aoiktye, he did a review for, I forgot what, it was a few years ago, like he did a review of tempered glass or something, maybe. Then when he draws the line, like I think you can see that wobble. But I think it doesn't really, it might not affect a lot of people, I don't know. But because like the way that I draw is like very like I guess the lines need to be pretty fine and very, very thin and very straight, then it really affects my drawings. But it's kind of a waste because I'm like, I didn't know that would be a problem, and then I had to remove my tempered glass screen protector. So but then like the so-called like the OG like, screen protector, where it's just like a thin plastic film that over time will get scratches and stuff because it's not like glass, I think. Is it? Or is my memories like getting altered? Yeah, I guess it's like a give and take kind of thing. Like with this paper light screen, it still bothers me that the colors here is not smooth. And like sometimes when I'm like bothered by it, like I kind of like don't really like it, but then the benefit of having like a very nice texture and a very like a bit of friction so that it's easier to draw, and I guess there's having very nice ASMR quality too. Like all these things, it just do I want something like that? Yeah, all these things are just what is that thing called? It outweighs this light refraction thing going on. Did I just accidentally which one is it? Do I want to undo this? Wait, which one was I not supposed to undo? Why did I? Okay, this was the one that I was working on and getting confused. And one of the other things is I dropped this pen on the floor one time, and I dropped it like this, like directly downwards, and you can see this is the one. I don't know what it is. You can see it, but the metal tip like bashed inwards, and then it kind of hit the sensor inside. So yeah, that's. Wait, did I just? Oh my god, I keep painting that one. Okay, let's So I'll say that I really like this elecom screen protector. I just wish that like it doesn't refract the colors on the screen, but it's just how it is. But it's like over time you just get used to it, like you wouldn't really see it anymore. I guess it's kind of like the thing where like it doesn't look as good when like you put side by side an iPad with the Paperlike screen protector and an iPad without it. Like the colors look so much better on the other iPad, but then like over time you forget like how the original look, and then like this looks good enough already. This one is not really. Anything else that I can do? I think that's just like one of those cases where if I'm just doing my work in progress without testing things out, that sometimes it just doesn't work out. And this is just one of those days. I wish I would work out, but then I feel like because the way that I sculpted these things are not really consistent, so the output is a little bit inconsistent. So what I can do is to just use the old base and I wonder if I can, let me think, maybe I can make use of, no, not really. Yes, one of the things I can do is to just paint it like how I did before, but maybe with this normal filter, the lines will be a lot more like abstract like that. I think I feel like with making, especially when you're making your own art, where you don't know what the final product will look like all these experimentations is really like a kind of like either it works or it doesn't. And when it doesn't work out, like it just feels a little bit frustrating. But then usually, like on the flip side of that, when it does work, it feels pretty amazing. But in this case, this is just one of the times when maybe it doesn't work as well as I thought it would be before I started the stream. Although I was also having a little bit of doubts of like whether or not it's really going to work out or not. Yeah, it's just a bit sad that it's not working out as I planned it to be. So it's going to be a lot more manual than I thought. But I think going into this, like I'm starting to get the hang of doing this too, because I haven't really touched this in a long time. The last time I painted on this was like so long ago. So I'm also just trying to get the feel of what working on these geometries feel like. And I think I'm starting to feel a little bit more comfortable working with these. I mean, so it's always sad that it takes such a long time to get used to things. Like to warm up to things. But you know what? I think in this way it's actually working out pretty well. Like this shape that is creating, like this. Let me use a red. This shape that is creating looks very nice. So I think the key is that I was testing out the brushes with like a large brush size, and it wasn't working out, but it seems like doing this small brush size thing looks pretty nice. Something like that looks nice. The main thing that I'm looking out for is the sharpening of the edges. And usually at times like this, it's just like putting in the work and just listening to music that you like, and yeah, just keep going until things look good. There's nothing else much to it. I'm gonna create a palette. What is... So I like to use a quartz spear and then move it up over here. A quartz spear just because it's a 3D space, so I want to look at it at different angles. And I will grab the blue. Where's the strongest blue? And I'll paint this. I think this normal filter painting works very well for things like this. So I know for sure that it's going to work out for this. I think it's just like when it comes to something that is more like a huge mass of things. So you can see I'm just, without a lot of effort, like creating all these. I mean, the effort is already done with the sculpting. So I'm making use of the amount of time that I spent on sculpting this to bring out more details like that. I'm not really sure whether or not I do want it like this. I probably want to, let me get the plants out, because I probably want this color here. Oh my god, let me fix this. It's a bit buggy with the I think when I scaled this up and down, it kind of messed the ends a little bit. So I'm just going to quickly fix it by averaging out. Why is this not? Everything's fine. I'll probably just like trim them off or just leave them alone. But I want this color so that I can paint something like this, because I think this one is like a little bit too like a bright green down here. And if I do this, then I can put give this like a variation compared to the ones above. See, this is like the more normal outcome which I'm expecting when I was painting this one. But it can't work for every single thing, so okay, I think that is good enough. When it comes to very thin stuff, like I just use the more normal brushes to paint these areas, because the thinner the object is, like the more plain like angle changes it will have. I probably also want to do it on her hair. I think for her hair it's going to be very good. Let me see how it looks like. I'm thinking. I'm not really sure yet. Maybe not. I guess probably because I've already done enough paint for this. But I think areas like this can be a little bit cleaner. And when it comes to painting different objects side by side, it really helps to have this little bit of color bleeding. So you can see like there's a little bit of the pink color coming from this that I painted onto her hair. And it kind of depends on how reflective the object they're making is going to be. Obviously the type of material you choose for this would matter a lot, like how much the colors in the environment reflect against each other. But sometimes you see like something like this area here, I'll just grab a little bit of the pink and just paint a little bit of that pink color just to integrate it a little bit more, like that, just very lightly. And I find that that helps to integrate the sculpt a lot better. I'll say like I'll do that for the stronger colors, because I don't think I'll go into this and paint in greens in this one. But I'll clean this up a little bit. I'm choosing between this blue-green and this yellow-green, because too much of one of the color doesn't look that good to me. So I'm kind of blending both of them at different areas. I forgot to turn off the mirror. I really like the sleeves. Let me see. I was kind of just fixing the intersection of the sleeves on the other side. Okay, so this one is fixed. This one is also fixed. Maybe that intersection is fine. Sometimes intersections don't matter. So using this normal filter thing, I can create even more definition for these things. Because when I was working on this sculpt back then, I didn't have this normal filter. Well, I didn't know that it existed. So I'm just going into, like, very lightly add some plane changes. Something like this. I think maybe the flowers, I just leave them alone. I wanted to work on this one a bit, but then honestly I don't really know what direction I want to go for this. But I guess this is the direction that I want to do. Just adding this kind of I guess just highlighting the amount of work that I did on the sculpt. I think that's good enough. Also don't really want it to look too messy. So I'm being quite careful like how much I introduce to this. So something like this just to clean up the edge a little bit more. Hello, Tatami Chaos. Thank you. I really like, well, I like everything. But yeah, I really like the skirt too because I spent like the most time on that. I probably spend like 1/4 of the time on these things than like the skirt. Which is also why like the base is kind of looking like in some sense lower poly and all that, but then I kind of stopped working on this one for a while because I was like, oh my god, like I'm not really sure whether or not I like the base meshes and all that stuff. But then when I came back to this year, I was like it's like it's okay. It's good enough, and if I feel like the base has like room for improvement, I'm just going to work on a new base for another sculpt. And so I'm just spending some time to neaten up the paint a little bit here and there. So I think also since I think I've kind of like worked long enough on this, I think I don't really need to spend any more time on this. I think like right now what I'm doing is just like for fun in some sense, like the feeling of, oh, since I'm working on this, I might as well just keep going on it. But I probably wouldn't touch it that much anymore after this painting session. I'm just doing like wherever I can in the short amount of time that I'm giving myself to work on this. And the things that I'm thinking about when I'm working on this, oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel like it's also satisfying, like just, this was like hand painted with the default paint, and right now I'm using the normal filter to paint on, I guess like normals. And when I just do like this, the birds are back. I forgot what the name of this bird is, but it has a very loud squeak. Yeah, just like seeing these things pop up feels very satisfying to me too. It's like just seeing these hard edges, it feels very nice. And it's like in the short amount of time just painting these in, I'm able to get as much detail as I can. because I'm trying to make it look less messy. In the middle of the stream, I was experimenting, and when I was doing the experimenting, I felt like everything was looking too messy, and I think I'm kind of getting the hang of it, of what I need to do, and it's going a lot smoother than I thought. The things I'm looking out for to not make it look messy is just not having too many like random spots of different colors, like everything is kind of flowing into other shapes. Like I'll just clean this up a little bit and then clean this up a bit, do something like this. Just to create more facets. It's kind of like the stylized paintery style of painting like different faces to like put more details on like a so-called low poly. Every live stream session I forget that my Apple Pencil can die. It's kind of sad how short the battery life is, but yeah. And yeah, it's two real birds. It's a couple. It's so sweet. Like they're always hanging out they've been hanging out every day now, like on and off nearby. And I guess they're like talking to each other all the time. That's what you're hearing. I guess they do sound like R2D too, sometimes. Yeah, they can produce quite a lot of sounds. Like it's very interesting listening to them. And I think they are not common in Singapore, I think. So it's very cool to just see them hang out every day here. It's like a orange head with a green body, I think. I think I should... I've already looked at what they are before, but then I forgot what they are. But yeah, it's... like you said, it's very fast. Super quick to get these defined edges. I think it also helps to create some like directional information. I think my pencil might die at any point. See, like something like this looks too messy, so I need to make sure that everything is a continuous shape. And honestly, I'm kind of sick of working on this thing, so I'm just going to just do a few more strokes. I guess I'm trying to see like what I can do to do the least amount of effort to integrate everything. Oh, this one looks messy. Did I not work on this one? Oh, they're talking again. So neaten that up. I think the only other bit that I'm looking out for is when I blend, yeah, it does give direction. I think sometimes it's like I'm a bit shocked that like oh, now the definition of the shapes are a lot clearer, like with just one stroke of painting. I think these kind of things will always feel really cool. This one's a little bit messy. When is my pencil gonna die? Please just hang in there for a sec. You just neaten it up. You know what, I think I'm just going to leave it like this. Just like, what is the thing that stands out the most, and then I'm just like working on it. Because I don't think this is that visible anyway, the colors, I mean. Like maybe I'm doing a lot of work that wouldn't necessarily show up anywhere. But I'll say like it's quite fun to paint on this, that's why I'm like, I don't really mind if I'm doing work that wouldn't show up on the final renders. But it is a bit too repetitive, so I'm starting to get sick of it, and I will do as much as I can until my pencil dies. Okay, and maybe just to blend this into the other ones with the drawings, just to blend this in with the others. Like trying to do the least effort to blend everything together is just incorporating different details that appears in if there are lines on the other meshes, then I'll bring it over to another mesh, and with that it's like a lot, things are more integrated across without needing to do too much. Yeah, I think that's probably all that I'll be doing. Anything else? Oh, I'll be going to though. So I hope that you have a good meeting, and let me just talk about a little bit of what I was doing because I wasn't really commenting on the stuff that I was looking out for before I go. And that is when I'm putting different colors like this. So right now I'm painting in a lighter blue. I'm kind of like being conscious of that when I'm adding the colors, this light blue color over the dark blue, that I'm not how to say, blending the colors too much. So especially at areas like this where how to say, whenever I'm making these small islands of colors, like let me grab this one, these colors, like they are color accent colors that I added so that this is the main island of color, saturated color that I am trying to integrate. So I didn't really do that much. I just do a little bit more of integrating more of these colors everywhere. But the way that I paint on these things, let's see, how do I... So let's see if this one... If I paint over lightly like this, it will cause the colors to look muddy. So what I'm doing is I am trying to blend in the colors, but I'm trying to... I feel like it's a bit hard to explain because I don't really know how to... But in these small sections here, when... let's see, this is a big section and I want to replace this one with this. Instead of like just slightly doing this and then all the colors become very like blended out and quite muddy or like diffuse. Like even when you look at this area here, there is a distinct island when if you kind of just like draw around it, kind of like when you look at a map with a topology, like these sections here. And like I may sound like I know my shit, but maybe I don't. But I'm guessing that this is what I did. Where all these islands are, if I just painted like this, these distinct colors wouldn't show through. Like they will become muddy like that. So the way that I'm doing it is kind of like this, where I'm painting in, I'm replacing the colors here with like these different colors, and then I'm kind of like blending them a little bit, but the main thing is that I want to replace these sections with the different colors and then blend it out. Then that way it wouldn't look like this. I don't know whether that makes sense. And before my pencil dies, let me just show you, like if I choose this color and let's say I go to this area here where it's more like a purple blue-ish rather than a green blue, and I just paint like that, everything just disappears like everything just becomes like a combine, like a mix between color. Actually, it looks nice. So there'll be some sections where I would really press on a lot more of that color that I picked, so that it doesn't really blend. It doesn't really like become a 50% of like this blue purple and this green blue, and that creates like these distinct areas here. I think even this one, I'm just like, you see this edge here has the blue purple, and this area is the blue green, and it is blending over here, but then I'm not doing like an overall blend thing, and then like the form doesn't come out this way. It's really subtle, I think. I hope. And I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure whether it will, like, it matters, honestly. But it matters a lot more when the colors are like very different from, you know, it matters both ways. So in this case, like, I want the gold part to be a lot stronger, like a lot more distinct. So I'm just cleaning this up a little bit. Oh, and then my pencil, it just died. So yeah, that's about it. I hope that you enjoyed this pure work and painting session with me, and all the best with your own art pieces, your own works. Making art is just so fun. I wish I can do it forever. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.